That can be fun, not
True.
wearing pants. Yeah. Welcome to the official, unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast, a podcast dedicated to Sea of Thieves and other rare games, but mainly Sea of Thieves. And it has been a while since we've done a podcast episode, but once in a while there comes an update that nobody can ignore, and this is one of those cases. So we will be talking a lot about the upcoming Legend of Monkey Island update for Sea of Thieves. We will go over all the information Rare released, but also the information we could gather that Rare didn't talk about, including new tools we can use, but also some insight in how the original Monkey Island creator feels about this expansion. Just like always, it's bound to be a great episode, and I couldn't do it without my wonderful co-host.
Do you reckon we'll do a mystery and an adventure one next week? As a double bill?
Wait, what?
Hi guys, it's AShinyRay. I'm back again. I thought I'd throw you through the loop then.
Yeah, you did. Like, I had no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
How are you doing, mate?
Good, yeah. It's been a while since we've done this, hasn't it? How many months?
Well,
Maybe 5 or so?
No, it's 2. It's 2 months.
2 months, is that it? It feels longer than that.
Yeah, it does. Do you still remember how to be entertaining?
No. Yeah, there's just been nothing to talk about, has there? At all.
Yeah, maybe let's talk about that for a while, because there's a draft, right, in Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, and it's still ongoing as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so probably we're gonna get into it. But did we expect that they were building to a big update, and that's why it was quiet for a while?
We had our suspicions. I didn't really expect them to do it in the way they've done it. As 3 Tall Tales, but I guess there was that pre-Pirate's Life quietness, wasn't there? And a Pirate's Life was massive. And I don't think there's been an explosion of interest in the game after the Monkey Island announcement. So I think it remains to be seen if this draft is fully over yet.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the adventure's like, because we won't talk about this time, but the ending to that mystery,
Oh yeah, still. Oh, now I still need to do the mystery. I totally forgot about that. Now I get what you were saying, because the mystery is solved this weekend as of recording. I still need to do it, but you've done it, right?
Yeah, I did it on the Friday, shortly after the code was released to the wider audience.
So how was that? And be careful for the listeners, because there are potential spoilers. Well, you don't need to be careful, but the listener needs to be careful. So please tell me all about the mystery.
The puzzles were cool. They're very difficult. I think that was better than what we had last time. The whole idea of H is cool. The voyages were amazing. As if we had those voyages as gold hoarder voyages with big rewards at the end, they'd be really, really good. But I wouldn't spoil the ending, but the ending was horrible. So that's all you need to know.
I kind of figured. So is there somebody that has the skull now, that won the skull?
Someone's won it, but I don't think they physically have it. I think they're going to announce the winners on the 22nd when the mystery ends. So if you're listening to this, I don't know if the podcast will be over. The mystery has gone after the 22nd. And that includes any opportunity to earn any cosmetics, trinkets, the sales, I believe, and any physical prizes as well.
All right. So I don't know when this podcast will release. If it's before the 26th, well, go finish it.
Ooh, the 22nd.
The 22nd. Sorry about that.
That's Thursday, the 22nd of June.
Yeah, I'm not done editing then, so.
Fair enough.
All right, so that's this structure of the podcast is thrown in the bin. Thanks for that.
So if you missed it, get fucked.
Yeah, so let's do a returning segment that's always there, and that's begging for money. So if you want to support the podcast, you can do it in 2 ways. You can buy a podcast poster. You can find that in the link in the description on YouTube. But you can also use super thanks and even smash that like button. Why not?
Because Sea of Thieves was so dead, we both defaulted on our mortgages. So
I had to beg. I had to sleep underneath the bridge. It's been a while.
I had to sell myself.
Sell certain body parts of myself. Yeah.
Not like that. I mean, like I had to do a Raid Shadow Legend, a Raid Shadow Legends ad. Not like that.
Again. Oh, traitor. Did you get hate comments again?
No, I actually haven't done it. That was a joke.
Oh, all right.
Yet, if Parium is Parium, Plarium, whatever they're called, if you're listening, I need to pay off some loans.
All right, give us sponsors. So let's get into the podcast proper, because we're going to talk about Monkey Island. But let's quickly talk about the Xbox Showcase first, because that happened about a week ago. And aside from the Monkey Island update for Sea of Thieves, Microsoft also showed us some other games. So let's quickly go over some of the highlights before we dive into a Monkey Island discussion. So overall, did you enjoy this showcase?
It was really good. It's the best showcase of any of the presentations so far. Obviously, there's a direct rumored for next week, so Nintendo aren't going to show anything big.
No.
And yeah, I think Xbox has this really good habit of doing presentations. We just need the games to come out.
Yeah, I mean, unlike last year, they said all these games you're showing, it's going to be for this year. That didn't happen. Except that vampire game that totally sucked, but whatever, we forget about that. So this time they're done a bit different. They're like, oh, these games are coming, but most of them didn't get a release there, right?
Yeah. I think we've got some vague release dates like 2024, and some just didn't get anything. But it's nice to know projects are coming out, and
yeah, like Fable.
Yeah, I think that looks fantastic, and the fact they got, and I hope he's in the game, Richard Ayoade. I think he suits the Fable sort of British humour. Yeah, bottle of water. And it did sort of have that sort of old Fable vibe with the sort of tongue-in-cheek, almost sarcastic humour. Bit satirical as well, the whole documentary theme. But yeah, Fable is going to be a day one game for me, and it's one of those games I will actually buy the collector's edition instead of just going straight through Game Pass.
Yeah, I used to do it too, buy the collector's edition of Fable. Except I was always hyped for the next Fable game, but I was always disappointed. So in hindsight, I always felt like I wasted my money on those games or whatever. Probably going to do it again. Well, I'm not going to do it again because it's going to be in Game Pass, so there you go.
Peter Molyneux's not involved in this one, so he can't oversell you something.
Yeah, maybe that will help. Sadly, no gameplay in that game. A lot of games didn't show gameplay, which I was a little bit disappointed about.
There was some gameplay in there. It was just well hidden.
All right, I'll rewatch it again then.
Yeah, shut your mouth. God.
Yeah. I was also really excited about Avowed. Were you?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was a question. Less excited than the reveal trailer. I think when the reveal trailer came out a couple of years ago, when they announced they were working on it, it looks a bit more like the Elder Scrolls. And now the game looks more like the Outer Worlds, but Elder Scrolls version. So the Outer Worlds is, the Obsidian Fallout. I know they've worked on Fallout in the past. And now this looks like the Obsidian Elder Scrolls rather than a direct competitor. And I didn't like the Outer Worlds. I thought it just did feel like a rip off Fallout in a bad way. And Avowed sort of looked like that, so my interest has died down. But it's nice to know it's coming out soon, and it does look like it might hold you over to Elder Scrolls, but also Starfield's coming out, so that will probably be the one you want to play.
I mean, it's going to be another 10 years for the next Elder Scrolls, so might as well play Avowed.
Don't say that. Don't say that. If you told me he was 2011, so if you told 13-year-old me that the next Elder Scrolls wouldn't be out till you're 30, I would cry. I think I'd end it then.
I'm used to long waiting times by now. I've had my fair share of waiting for games and books as well.
Going up for everything, isn't it? Like, we used to get sequels every 3 years, and now it's getting 5, 6.
Yeah, look at Zelda too. Like, direct sequel uses a lot of the same assets, but 5 years.
Nintendo had no excuse for that one, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, well, they use COVID, right? And it's a different working environment, right? Because you don't really work at home in Japan. They don't really have that culture of working home, so that slowed it down a lot. But who knows? Like I'm not flying the wall there. I can't say for sure. I quickly want to say I'm actually am excited about because I actually really like the Outer Worlds. I thought it was really great. So and this was like, oh, this looks like the Outer Worlds. So I'm pretty excited for Avowed myself. Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a go again and like stick with it.
I mean, again, it's on Game Pass, right? So that's the entire list. It's on Game Pass, so might as well give it a shot.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Uh, I gladly promote Game Pass. Um, we also had South of Midnight, which I kind of liked. There was that kind of cel shaded style, which looked like it was stop motion. You remember that?
Yeah, the sort of it's in the bayou, wasn't it, in Louisiana?
Mhm,
And it
yeah,
had that sort of gothic, sort of southern feel. It looked really cool. Interested to see what
yeah,
the gameplay's like, but concept has got me sort of hooked there, I think.
yeah. Same. And it also goes for Still Wakes Deep, if I have that right. That's that horror game that's on the drilling platform.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I actually read a horror story about taking place on a drilling platform. It was like, this would be such a cool set piece for a survival horror game. And hey, look at that. They're making a survival horror game set on a drilling island. Or a rigging island, I should say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. And we also saw Star Wars Outlaws. How do you feel about that game?
Ubisoft can go either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay looked okay. And I guess coming off of Jedi Survivor, I feel like they didn't need to do another story set during the Empire. I feel like it's getting a bit oversaturated, but you know, if it's good, then it's good. It's just that the Star Wars IP is just getting rinsed at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's the same themes over and over again, right? It's the evil empire and us scoundrels. We're gonna oppose it in our own little way, and you see that in the series as well. It just it's the same story told differently. I don't know if you feel similar.
Yeah, it feels like nostalgia bait. It's like, oh, look at this
Mm.
character. It's Han Solo as a woman now,
Yeah,
or it's
but
Andor
female.
now.
Yeah,
Or tell you what, even better is Jyn Erso, but she doesn't really care about the rebellion, just herself. And instead of the
yeah,
security droid from Rogue One, it's now a BX battle droid, the assassin one. But he wears
yeah.
a coat, guys.
There's a lot of repeat of elements. Yeah,
Yeah, there's always the
yeah, yeah.
droid buddy, and I think that's a cliche Star Wars thing. BD feels a little bit different because he's a bit more like a pet rather than a buddy
Mm-hmm.
thing. Sort of calling back to that sort of R2D2. No, in fact, I don't even think BD one's like R2D2, but yeah, just accompanied with all the series is coming out. It's Disney has shifted away from those films and they're rinsing all other media. And yeah, Ubisoft is
Yeah.
tenuous.
Yeah, so what we really need is a another Star Wars game that's set in a different era. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, and just a different concept.
Mm-hmm.
A Clone Wars one would be all right, but it's always sort of post Revenge of the Sith. And don't get me wrong, I like the Empire. I think that period of Star Wars is the best one, and it's got the best characters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Clone Wars is still a bit more untapped.
Mm, gotcha. And Starfield, how do you feel about that game?
God, it
Excited
looks
for it now?
fucking amazing, doesn't it? It looks so good and so expansive.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is the whole Series X being limited to 30 FPS. And to a lot of people, that's not a bad thing. But I played through Jedi Survivor on 30 FPS and it was rough.
Mm.
I understand it's a whole technology thing and it's CPU bound and it's a lot of Bethesda shite that's, like the NPCs and the objects in the world that you can pick up. They're all based on the CPU, but it's kind of embarrassing to go, oh, this is the world's most powerful console, but it's still 30 FPS. And I thought we'd sort of
Yeah.
move past that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the promise of the Series X, right? Like, look at all these games in at least 60 FPS.
How can you justify spending £500 on the console because the price has gone up? It's 480 if we're being precise. When you can, you can build a PC now I'd say it is twice the price, but my piece is like, I think a £500 PC, is that going to be able to do 60 FPS on most games? Probably not, especially new ones, but you have the options, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I know nothing about building PCs, so I'll just take your word for it.
You're not going to get the same price, like power ratio, but I guess I already have a PC that's decently powerful, and I know that will run Starfield at 60 FPS.
All right. Did you watch the gameplay direct of Starfield?
I didn't watch all of it because I don't like to watch too many trailers nowadays because I feel like they spoil too much of the game. But I watched enough to get a feel of what it's about, how the planets work, and how the sort of RPG system looks. And the RPG system looks closer to sort of Oblivion and Fallout rather than Skyrim, which is good.
Yeah. I just avoid most of Starfield, actually. Just what they showed in the original showcase, and I was like, all right, it looks better than when I saw it last time, and I just want to go into it as blind as possible.
Got you. Fair enough.
Any other game that caught your interest?
The fact Gears of War wasn't there, that caught my interest. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So did you expect it?
Yeah, it's about time. I don't know what the Coalition are doing. I know they fucked up Gears 5 pretty bad, but where's the Gears of War collection? That was leaked like 2 years ago, and it's still not coming out. And obviously Gears 6 is in development, and it's been 3 years. It'll be 3 years this year since Gears 5, so that's looking at like 2025 now, which is ridiculous. But just on a sidetrack, I bet they're going to make it free to play multiplayer like Halo Infinite. The campaign is going to be okay, but they're going to fuck up the multiplayer by shoving loads of microtransactions in it and then going to do a repeat of Halo Infinite.
Don't you feel that Gears of War had its time and it's now a dead franchise?
It's only dead because of what Microsoft has done with it. I think they've disrespected it. And I think they don't understand the source material or how to make a legacy IP work. So yeah, it's pretty dead. And anyone who says about, day one it did 2 million players that's because of Game Pass, as someone who quite actually suffered through Gears 5's post-launch as a actual core Gears fan, anyone who tells you Gears 5 was amazing is just someone who's just trying to pass Xbox off as, the best console on the platform. Best platform. You see it on Twitter all the time. They embarrass themselves.
All right. Okay. But you think that if there's a next installment that's really good, it can revitalize the franchise again?
Yeah, if they stick to the source material and make a good live service game, but they're not going to do that.
All right. I always love your optimism.
It's living in a live service world that's done that to me.
Yeah. Also missing from the showcase were Perfect Dark and Everwild. Did you expect them?
No, I didn't expect them either. I don't think Everwild's coming out either.
You think it's done? It's canned?
Well, how long has it been in production for now?
4 years, I want to say.
So yeah, that's 4 years we've known about it. And we don't even know what it's about. It's not coming out.
No. All right. Okay. Again, very optimistic. I still think it's coming out. I was actually surprised not to see Everwild. I still have good hopes for that game. As far as we know, they're still working on it. So, yeah, we just have to wait and see. And Perfect Dark, I did not expect Perfect Dark. Also been radio silence on that game for a while after the initial announcement. I didn't expect it. But yeah, so that's it.
I think we have an overarching problem of games being announced far too early nowadays.
Maybe, like, it's just those games and that other Ubisoft game, Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I do believe is not coming out anymore, but that's a different story.
It looks like what they've done, what the efforts they made towards that have just gone into the new Star Wars game.
Maybe, yeah, could be. It's a little bit disappointing because I really like the first Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
But if they keep waiting longer, everybody that played that game will be dead when the sequel comes out. So that's not gonna work.
No, it won't work.
So my final question about the showcase is: was the Sea of Thieves announcement again the best announcement of this year?
No.
Oh no, it wasn't.
Oh,
Oh, I think it was.
announcement. Yeah, announcement.
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry. But showcase. No. Starfield is obviously the best.
but so you're more excited about Starfield than you are about Monkey Island?
Oof. Should I be answering that question?
No, you're gonna get unsubscribers.
Am I excited about Starfield more? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand that's a far bigger thing than Three Tall Tales.
Yeah.
And that's not to downplay Monkey Island or what have you, because I am excited for that. But when you compare Bethesda RPG and the last proper one we had was in 2015 versus crossover Tall Tales, that we'll get into that. But yeah, Starfield is more exciting.
Yeah, to me it's Monkey Island. But yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, well they handled Pirate's Life really well, and I think they're gonna handle Monkey Island the same way. Like put a lot of love and attention into it, and I know I already love Pirate's Life, and I think Monkey Island is a way better fit for Sea of Thieves. So I'm really excited.
I think these will be better than the Pirate's Life Tall Tales, but we'll dive into that.
Yeah, so let's talk about The Legend of Monkey Island. We got another great cinematic trailer that sets a comedic tone that, in my opinion, perfectly seems to blend in with the world of Sea of Thieves. We see returning characters from the Monkey Island franchise, like Guybrush, which is the main character. We also see Elaine Marley, that's that redhead on the ship. We see LeChuck, which is the big bad of that series. We see Stan, that's that salesman that tries to sell us a sinking rowboat. And we also see Corina, who is the voodoo lady.
Are we sure that's Elaine and not Captain K Capsize?
Wait, what?
The red-headed lady on the ghost ship in the trailer. I'm sure that's Kate Capsize.
Oh, you might be right. Like I just quickly Google searched some names.
Okay. Just the FBI couldn't get that out of me, so.
See, I have to make a confession before we go further because I have not played the Monkey Island games. Of course, I'm familiar with them. I know something about it, but I have not played them. And you have, right?
I started the first one a few weeks ago, coincidentally. Yeah, I'm playing through the first one currently, but I do know a bit about the games because it's pop culture, cult classic. I don't know, but yeah.
So that's interesting because I thought you played the latest one, actually.
No, I've not played Return to Monkey Island yet. I have it installed, but I haven't started it yet because I'm going to play the first three first.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
playing
my
the fourth
goal.
one.
Yeah, that's my goal too, because Sea of Thieves Rare announced that it's going to take place after the third Monkey Island game. So if you want to catch up with that story, playing the first three before this update seems the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to take your word for it that redhead is, what was her name, according to you?
Captain Kate Capsize.
Capsize. All right. Let me just quickly alter that. All right. So how surprised were we by this announcement?
Semi-surprised. We knew something was coming, and it didn't feel like a pirate's life. Yeah, it felt sort of natural, didn't it? A natural progression of what's coming next, and yeah, I just had a feeling something was going to be announced.
Yeah, I was not surprised at all. It could also be, I mean, it still could have been, Pirate's Life 2 or whatever. But we heard the rumors. We saw, I think, a file that leaked somewhere that showed Lucasfilms was involved, and you can put two and two together to make four. We also had Mike Chapman talking about Monkey Island franchise a lot. And he's a PR guy, right? So if he talks about the game a lot, it means they're working on it. That's how I read it. So I wasn't really surprised. And then we saw the logo of Lucasfilms in the trailer, and we heard the music, and I was like, all right, yeah, this is gonna be the Monkey Island trailer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we asked him, didn't we? We asked him if there was going to be a Monkey Island crossover, and he said maybe.
Yeah, he did.
So he was probably working on it when we spoke to him.
That's one of my follow-up questions, because do we think they already started on the Monkey Island when Pirates Life came out, because we had that great Easter egg there, right?
I don't think so. Considering the scope of it being 3 Tall Tales, I think it was probably had a shorter turnaround time.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, were they already planning it?
Probably not. No, I think maybe there was an idea and they had to seek approval from Disney and and Lucasfilm Games. But they were they were probably thinking about it. Unless the fact that they mention the people in it and they've got the Easter egg and the song, it would have already been licensed, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So maybe there was talk of it. They just didn't know what they were going to do.
Exactly. And we're happy they did it. But this also means we don't get a Pirates Life sequel. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm fine about it. I liked Pirates Life 1, and it was really good playing them through for the first time, but now I don't really touch them.
Yeah.
And a second Pirates Life isn't going to have the wow factor for me as as something like Monkey Island, but as a wider audience and attracting players, I think that would have been more impactful.
Well, that's a very interesting topic, because I made some polls and I asked my subscribers about it. So one of the polls I did is, what would you have preferred as the next update? And 3 answers: The Legend of Monkey Island update, another Pirates Life with Jack Sparrow, or a crossover with Captain Hook. So what do you think people want most out
Monkey
of those
Island.
3? Yeah, Monkey Island. And after that, Pirates Life with Jack Sparrow or crossover with Captain Hook are quite similar, actually, which is surprising because I don't know. I felt a lot of people didn't want Captain Hook, but apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that poll would look like if you added Sea of Thieves Tall Tales or Flameheart Tall Tales to that one, because I think
another great question, because my next poll.
I haven't seen these, by the way.
My next poll was, if you could only pick one, which would you choose? Crossover Tall Tales or original Tall Tales with just Sea of Thieves characters? And which one in that one do you think?
Sea of Thieves characters?
Yeah, with 80%, by the way.
80 to 20%?
Yeah.
Shit, I need to poll my audience, but I reckon it'll be about the same.
It's really hard, because I think it's very hard to answer myself, because I think they handled Pirates of the Caribbean really well, and even though I don't really care all that much about that franchise, I think the end product was so amazing that I'm really excited to see more crossovers. And the Monkey Island update is actually a crossover that, in my opinion, fits very well. So I'm really excited about that. And then you have all those other video game pirate franchises that I'm like, I wonder how that will look in Sea of Thieves. So it's for me as well. It's really hard to answer, because you also want the big cinematic experiences with Sea of Thieves characters. Like if the resolution of Flameheart, for example, is not a Tall Tale, that would be a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
But you could also say like, oh, we have the Tall Tales for the crossovers, and we have the adventures for the ongoing Sea of Thieves story. So yeah. So if you would choose, you would also choose for original Tall Tales, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. I kind of lean more to the crossovers. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. The shopping's just arrived. I'm going to be like 10 minutes getting it in. Is that okay to take a quick break?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Grab a drink or what have you. It'll be about 10 minutes. What have you got to drink?
Just some iced tea.
With vodka in it?
Just a little. I think we're good to dive into the next topic.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about what we're actually getting with this update. We're getting 3 Tall Tales, 1 each month, and the first one will start July 20th. Like we said before, it takes place after Monkey Island 3. We also get new tools, and one of them is confirmed, which is the zip line. We also see that in the trailer with the chickens. And we also see the Cursed Captain, and I think it's safe to assume we're going to see him as well. So, is there anything else that's confirmed for Monkey Island?
I know Mike said that these are the, excluding sailing times from the other Tall Tales, but these are the longest and most expansive Tall Tales they've done. So if anyone is concerned about sort of the level of content again, it's probably going to be about the same play time as A Pirate's Life.
Mm-hmm.
That last bit speculation, obviously, but I think that's pretty much all we've got confirmed at the moment.
Yeah. So 3 Tall Tales, some people would say we're going to get less, but we think differently, right?
You mean less in terms of how much content we're getting, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll get less cosmetics, I'll know that much. Definitely from the earnable ones, but in terms of actual playtime, probably not less content.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be focused more on side quests and other things they do in those, new areas we're going to explore. Do you think that as well?
Yeah, so just going off the CGI trailer, from what I can work out, is that the first Tall Tale is going to be about getting to Guybrush,
Yeah.
and it's going to end with meeting LeChuck across that bridge. So I imagine that's going to take place across the whole of Melee Island and sort of be like the first act of the first game.
Yeah.
And Mike said that there's, a beginning, middle, and end, with it escalating each time. So the bit on the ghost ship, I imagine, is going to be on Monkey Island itself. I think that's probably going to be number 3, but I don't know what number 2 is going to cover. Yeah, so I think that's what the structure is going to be like. And the first game seems like it's going to be sort of trading items and similar to the first game of getting into the mansion and stuff. I think that's the sort of vibe they're going to go for.
Yeah, in order for us to get that ticket, right, that we saw in the trailer.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing we're going to have to trade for. I think we're going to get one item, or we're going to have to get one item, and then we're going to have to trade it for another one, and then we're going to have to do something else for someone else, and then etc. etc. And then we eventually trade it all for the ticket or what have you.
Yes, that's my expectation too of the first Tall Tale. Yeah, I'm not sure if we will see LeChuck then, but you could be right there. Yeah,
I think that bit where LeChuck shows himself in the trailer is outside the mansion, right? So I think that's how the first Tall Tale will end. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
All right. And do you think they're gonna blend it with the ongoing story of Sea of Thieves?
So I asked Mike as well. Since we got Monkey Island, we still haven't seen Flameheart yet. What's the deal with that? So he said there's a link. We'll have to play it and find out. But it seems like it's going to be quite far away from the actual main storyline itself. They'll probably do a Flameheart tease at the end.
Yeah, is that a good thing, bad thing? Do you want that?
I'd rather we just have Flameheart Tall Tales, but
yeah, okay. But if you have, in this crossover, do you want more of Sea of Thieves in it, or do you want it more as a standalone thing?
As long as the captain isn't LeChuck, that's fine. As long as it's just a tasteful tease and not LeChuck and Flameheart arguing like children, it has to be tasteful.
Yeah. I think there's a possibility that LeChuck will join the Dog Brethren.
If he's not the captain, there's an opportunity, but I think LeChuck sort of furthers his own aims. He's just obsessed with Elaine, isn't he? Rather than and getting revenge with Guybrush, rather than this whole takeover the Sea of Thieves nonsense that Davy Jones started. So no, I don't think he's going to join the Brethren. Sorry to answer your question.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But they did say there was a connection. You can also read it in the little information on their website. They say throughout the Legend of Monkey Island, you will solve puzzles, tussle with adversaries, and tackle unexpected trials as you strive to put right situations that have gone bizarrely wrong and confront a looming peril born of powers from both worlds. So what makes you think of that, like looming peril born of powers from both worlds?
I was quiet.
Where does your mind go?
I was quiet because that seems to say that Flameheart's going to help LeChuck out, which I don't like.
Or maybe we get a new big bad that originated with powers from maybe the memories of LeChuck, and he creates, I don't know, an evil monster you can use the power of the Sea of the Damned to do that. Maybe along those lines.
Oh, so it is possible this Briggsy thing's going to be resolved in this, right?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I thought that's where you were going with it, with the monster.
No, actually not, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so maybe that's what's going to be the resolution for it, because let's say we look at the teasers, right? So the first teaser was just Secret Wilds. Second one was Belle looking for a temple somewhere.
Yeah.
Which has not happened at all, and we're halfway through the year. Teaser 3's Guilds, which, as far as we know, is plans to be coming soon, and that was delayed. I think it's, you hedge your bets that it's going to be season 10, but it could still be delayed longer. And then, so that would sort of put the timeline right if Monkey Island happened first, or the start of it. Then after that, what was it after Guilds? It was the Imposter with the rat.
Yeah.
Dark Deception, possibly. So it's out of whack. And then the last one was about the fight for the Burning Blade. For the Sword of Souls. So that seems to be.
Well, we saw the red in that teaser trailer for the Dark Deception, right? So that's definitely going to be in that.
We've had a teaser trailer for the Dark Deception.
Well, we got two.
Oh, in
2
the
seconds.
Thieves. Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. You're right. So the rat will be Dark Deception. So that last fifth teaser about fighting for the Sword of Souls seems to be teasing post Monkey Island. So maybe that's the Flameheart connection, and that's going to lead on to that.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I think the less impactful it's going to be. Like, I think it's going to be more standalone thing, and the power and the perils they're talking about is maybe the power of the Sea of the Damned, because we also saw some memories taking place. But that's just my thought right now, because you need to. I don't see it really. Like, the more I think about it, I don't see it really blending in that that temple, because it's very focused on the lore of the ancients, and I don't think they're gonna combine that with the lore of Monkey Island.
True, but then we have to consider that temple tease and obviously the laser side and that. But I keep saying Burning Blade because Junior says it in the teaser, and the Sword of Souls tease has to happen during October, November, and December, and I don't think we're getting adventures straight after this Monkey Island thing ends. I think they're going to wait till 2024 to continue the Flameheart story.
I think so too. I don't think we'll get adventures alongside these tall tales.
Sorry, not alongside now. I'm talking, because we aren't getting them alongside. I'm talking September's, the conclusion of this. Yeah. October is not going to continue the story. There's 0% chance it's happening.
All right. Okay. So let's back up. So we're going to get the next adventure. When is that? Dark Deception?
The 22nd of June, which is this week, next week as of recording this.
All right. So, and then we get Monkey Island first tall tale.
Yeah, 4 weeks later.
Yeah. So July, and then August part 2, and September part 3. So in October we see the adventure after Dark Deception, right? Is that how we're thinking?
Meant to be, but I don't think they're going to do adventures for the rest of the year.
Oh, okay. That optimism is great.
I'm just going this off of how bad this year's been so far. Sorry, Rare, but it's been the worst year so far, easily. And usually when we have these sort of tall tales come through and these big plot moments, they usually have a break, even though we've just had a break. But like, what's really going to happen is in September Monkey Island ends, and October realistically should be when season 11 starts, but it'll be November again because of these shitty 4-month seasons. Or 5 months as we are now again. Surprise, surprise.
And we'll get an October update, right? Which is going to be around Halloween, so they're going to do that. So unless they plan the adventures to go alongside with Halloween, so we get another Return of the Damned or whatever.
It would make sense for him to come back during, again, the Festival of the Damned, because Rare can say, we didn't say which Festival of the Damned he'd be back in. It would make sense, but I just can't see them going straight back into adventures after doing Tall Tales.
Okay. You could say they needed that that draw to make both the Tall Tales and the Adventures.
Possibly. Personally, I just don't feel it, knowing how the content cadence is in the game.
Okay. But do you think they're done with the Tall Tales right now? Like, they're pretty much done at this moment?
I think they're still tweaking them, but I think they're pretty much ready to go.
So you have a lot of force you can put on the Adventures to go after that, right?
In theory, right?
They can make an adventure in a month. Like they've done it in the past, so and now they have even more time to do it. So,
but do we really
yeah.
want adventures especially after Tall Tales and after this wait, to just go back to being adventures and none of that feedback being on board?
The feedback that people want Tall Tales for the Sea of Thieves characters, you mean?
Instead of adventures, but if we're going to do adventures, which is already confirmed, we're doing more adventures. They need to be replayable. They need to be more expansive. And do they really need to come out every single month? I'd rather wait 6 weeks, 2 months to have a more expansive story and actually feel like it's worth the wait, because I'd say a handful of the adventures are really good, but a lot of them are just go to A to B to C and just listen to dialogue, and the content is just sailing.
All right. Yeah. So basically, you want Tall Tales.
Yeah. I'd rather something like a Tall Tale each season than 3 adventures.
Yeah, I feel the same. If they're for the right length, and if the story feels consistent, that's the most important thing, because there's so many loose threads right now, and you can only keep the focus for so long, right? Because we still need to wait on the warrior, that skull that's apparently just chilling out there waiting to bash Flameheart. We're still waiting on Flameheart as well. Like, I didn't mind in the beginning that we had to wait a while, because we also need to wait for New Golden Sands and Port Merrick. But holy shit, dude! Like, some people that they step in and that we even forget we resurrected Flameheart. So, I know all these threats that still need to get resolved.
It's been over 200 days since Flameheart was quote unquote resurrected.
Yeah. It's gonna be in October, mate.
It is, yeah. The earliest it'll be is October at this point.
Yeah.
I can't see him making a surprise reveal in Monkey Island, and I don't think I really want that. So, yeah, it does really feel like, and I don't think this is the case, it does feel like they were banking on Pendragon winning, so they didn't do anything for Flameheart. Because if you even look back, that painting didn't even appear straight after Return of the Damned. It was like a month later. The painting and the Reaper's Hideout. So it was almost shit, it didn't go the way we wanted to. And then you've got, the Heart of Fire, and then you've got Chris writing that if Flameheart's resurrected, he's probably going to do something horrible to the servant that the servant doesn't know about. And then you get the CGI trailer where it's all Tyrion Pendragon sacrificing himself like an idiot. And you're trying to feel bad for him, and then he just gets absolutely fucking steamrolled so bad that Rare don't even show us the statistics.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot. But,
yeah, I probably have it wrong, but it does feel like
it. You have it wrong, because because obviously they give us all the power, and they done it with Golden Sands, and they really didn't know. So why would you expect Pendragon to win? Even if they wanted to win, like, you can't plan for him to win, even if you want him to win.
True, but if I was a studio looking at metrics and maybe all the polls said that, because they obviously thought it was a good decision that it would be close. They think, Pendragon's going to win because there's just simply more Athena supporters, and Lost Sands the Reapers lost Lost Sands, right? So as a studio, you might think, should we do a bit of groundwork for that sort of Pendragon victory just in case? Because that's where the statistics are showing. And then it comes to the Vinegar Stroke, and you release it to the public, and it goes clearly completely the wrong way. I don't think Rare wanted him to win, but, would they start making the most likely outcome to try and stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah.
You got to think of resources, I guess.
And it also shows, like, that people are just fed up with getting the thesis of Flameheart Resurrection, and they're like, "Nah, we're done. We want him. Get it."
I think Rare really underestimated the popularity of the character, and maybe this whole delay thing, and he's taken so long to come back, is because they're maybe sort of working the story around him being more of a not so much an antagonist like the big bad, but more so not even anti-hero, but a protagonist for some players, considering how much people sided with him.
Yeah, and I just want the stakes to be high. So, like, I'm against Flameheart, as my own personal story, but I want them to resurrect to get the stakes up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like how this has devolved again into this, but I suppose it's relevant with the story.
As long as they don't resolve it, we're gonna keep bringing it up. So there you go.
I suppose we got the tease in the Sea of Thieves news video. I guess you didn't. I guess you saw that as well.
The Burning Blade.
The figurehead, yeah.
Yeah,
That Shipwreck Bay as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Which is telling, right? Because that's where Pendragon was doing his sacrifice. I still think if Pendragon would have won, it would be the Black Witch getting repaired on Shipwreck Bay. That's my theory.
That would make sense. Although the fact they're making a new one, it makes me a bit sad that we're probably never going to visit the sort of original wreck and the Ophelia, because they're sank quite close to each other. I can't remember who it was, but someone brought up the idea of having a tall tale where you dive down to the Burning Blade wreck. You see, sort of like a sunken pearl, and the Ophelia wreck is there, but also there's a boss fight with Harry Harkley, and he's just been at the bottom of the sea the whole time.
Yeah, just barnacles all over him.
Barnacles, and he throws like rocks at you and tries to breathe fire. Well, the Ashen Lords can breathe the fire underwater, can't they? But that would be a really cool tall tale.
That would be cool, but still, like, it's not confirmed it is the Burning Blade, just the figurehead, right? So maybe they're using the figurehead on some new wood,
I think that's what they're doing from what I can tell. It looks to be a new shipwreck, and they do this whole thing of Sea of Thieves of repurposing stuff.
What if it is the Black Witch that's getting the Burning Blade figurehead?
I mean, well, it might not be the Black Witch, but I think from the angle, it doesn't. It's like by the water, so it couldn't be the actual ship. But that doesn't mean they're not using parts of the Black Witch, and that might, how we have the map evolution maybe over the coming months. That's the Black Witch is going to be dismantled, and the figurehead of the Burning Blade, or the thing it's attached to, is going to grow bigger and bigger as a sort of build up. But then again, they did say they wouldn't do small teasers for him, and they wanted to do something big. So sort of conflicting there, isn't it? Do you remember that?
No, but I'll just take your word for it.
Essentially, they said regarding the results of Return of the Damned, they didn't want to do small teasers like New Golden Sands. They just wanted to do something big.
Like in one go.
Yeah, in one go. And I think you can't just have him appear in the hideout one day. I think he needs a big entrance and to do something Flamehearty to sort of introduce him.
Maybe that could be the reason, right? Like Flameheart won, all right, so it's going to be a while, but the time invested, we just wanted to make it really, really good, right?
That makes sense, but can we at least have an NPC acknowledging the results of Return of the Damned? Like they're innocent. Oh yeah, now that Flameheart's coming back.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the servant saying, "Oh, because of your victory, my father's time is at hand." Something like that.
All right. Let's bring it back to Monkey Island. We kind of talked about what's confirmed and what we can expect to get. Do you think all the quests take place on the same island?
I don't think so. I think it'll be 3 different islands from the game.
Yeah, because they also said in the article, you'll be invited to tour and explore beloved locations, beginning with Melee Island. So there you go.
Melee, Monkey, and Jambalaya, let's say. I think it'll be 3 of the islands from the game.
All right. You're dropping your Monkey Island knowledge again.
I looked at the map, mate. I looked at the map 5 minutes ago. I'm just joking.
I'm gonna make sure I have played all 3, the first 3, before we start this update.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, you're gonna do the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and finish Secret soon. I've really enjoyed it, but it's quite a slow-paced game. If you're a bit of a zoomer, you can't skip the subtitles, and there's a lot of walking around, but the humor and the dialogue sort of make it. All right. And some of the mini games as well.
All right, cool. Like spitting.
Like spitting or sword fighting.
That's not going to be in Sea of Thieves.
Too toxic, mate.
It is. All right, so let's speculate about some other content we can expect. Like cosmetics, like we've seen some cosmetics that are probably gonna be obtainable for us as well. We saw that ship, that ghost ship with the figurehead of that monkey. So I'm thinking we're gonna get a Monkey Island ship set. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, so if you look in the trailer, it looks like every piece of that actually is the Mad Monkey, the sails, the figurehead, the wheel. I don't remember seeing the cannons, but it's probably in the trailer.
Is that the ship of Guybrush then, the Mad Monkey?
No, so Guybrush's
Oh,
ship is the Sea Monkey, but the Mad Monkey is a shipwreck in the second game, and the figurehead has mystical powers.
okay.
Yeah, and that ghost ship is sort of a nod to LeChuck, but it's not LeChuck's ship. The Mad Monkey wasn't
Hmm.
LeChuck's ship.
Okay. What is this ship called? Do you know?
I think LeChuck's ship's just called LeChuck's ghost ship. I think
Love
that
it.
is the case. When I did a bit of research for my initial video, I couldn't find anything about LeChuck having a named ship.
Okay. But Mad Monkey having a figurehead with powers, that's right up the alley of Sea of Thieves.
It is, yeah. Oh,
We
and
have seen that before.
the hull is the Mad Monkey as well, so that's got to be the first Emporium set, surely.
Right. What we also saw on that ship set is a cannon next to your harpoon. So, yeah. So do you think that's going to be exclusive for that tall tale, or do you think that's going to be a permanent addition to all our ships?
It will just be for the tall tale. Sort of like ocean crawlers boarding the ship.
Yeah. I still niff that that's not in the game. It should be.
It would be broken. It would be so good.
It would feel broken the first month, but it's just this changing of the meta, right?
Runners would complain.
Of course.
Imagine
But it would
someone.
solve that. It would solve a lot of boring naval combat. Like it's what's the boring part when they run away, and now you can, no, you can still run away, but it's going to be a bit harder with those front cannons.
Nah, that would cause a shitstorm, mate. As cool as it would be, and it would shake up the sandbox, people would be bitching about that as soon as it came out.
Of course, they would be.
People were bitching about it before anyone said anything about it. Someone just goes, "Ooh, there could be chase cannons coming," and everyone's like, "No, that'll break the game," and it would break the game, but just
Yeah, but let's think realistically. It's going to be really overpowered, but everybody has it, so you know. Getting away would be harder, but if you turn your back, the shots are not gonna land on your broadside. They're gonna hit you in the butt, which is okay if you hit the sloop in the butt. It won't sink really fast if you do that.
remember when we were chasing that
Yeah.
sloop the other day,
Yeah.
and we chased him to the edge of the map because of the wind, right? And then he had to get near us, right? Imagine that chase now, but cut down by 10%. Or down to 10%. That would have been over before it started if we had chase cannons. And that's great for us, but there's loads of people who are solo sloopers in this game, and they would be absolutely livid about that. They like running, they will never fight, and they will just see those chase cannons as an advantage to people who PvP.
Yeah, that's true. And it's going to be way harder to get into the game. I agree with that as well. People will quit sooner, and we don't want that. We want people to stay in the game. So I see the problems. Like obviously I see the problems, but it would also solve some boring combat. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like naval combat could use a look at in terms of weapons. I think that can be spiced up. A mortar would be cool.
A mortar?
Yeah,
Okay.
like a ship mortar. So I don't know if you've played Assassin's Creed Black Flag or done a bit of...
No, but I know what a mortar is.
Yeah, essentially it's a mortar that fires things up that you have to lob. So you would be able to shoot that in front of you, but because you have to lob it, it's not a case of... I guess you lob cannonballs, don't you? But you're not like directly aiming at something. You have to get the right... You have to dial them in, so to speak. Things like that, or battering rams, just ways to change up the meta rather than something that would be annoying in, like chase cannons.
Yeah, you could make those chase cannons only accept a certain type of cannonball, right?
Yeah, true. Although a skilled crew would be able to hit 3 cannonballs if it was cannonballs, or
yeah, but you can also say, oh, you can only shoot curse cannonballs, and
even
those
better,
are very rare.
anchor balls.
Yeah, like anchor balls, but they're very rare, right? So you still have 1 or 2 chances to hit them, right?
Now, I wouldn't be opposed to a swivel cannon that damages players at the front. Just
Swivel
players.
cannon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
Like blunderbombs, something like that.
sort of like that, but it fires maybe not like blunderbombs, but almost like it does a little bit of damage if it hits a player, but doesn't damage the ship. Yeah, something sort of small that fires little cannonballs that can, let's say it's a 2-shot kill or something like that.
I mean, like front cannons were also now in real pirate times. There were front cannons, but they were really small like that, right? Just to hit people and not the ship itself.
I think they had full-size chase cannons, you know?
Oh, okay, yeah, but just shows what I know. All right, okay, it's gonna be controversial. I feel I should make a poll about this as well. See what the player base wants.
Do it.
But like you said, like it's gonna be really unfair for the newer players.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about enemy types?
In terms of, do we think we're getting any new enemy types?
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
No.
No, because that's one of the things I like about Pirate's Life so much, because we still have those enemies like the sirens and the ocean crawlers that were introduced in that update. They're new enemies in the main game. So I really hope this update, even if we go through a portal and be in a different universe or whatever, I still hope some of that gets transferred over, like enemies and tools that we can use in the day-to-day play of Sea of Thieves.
They would have been in the trailer, to be fair. Sorry to be pessimistic.
Yeah, no, but that's a good point. Like they were shown in the trailer too for Pirate's Life, and if you have a new enemy type, you would put it in the trailer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is a unique enemy in Monkey Island game that could be an enemy in Sea of Thieves?
I don't really know. I don't.
Mm.
So far, I've played. You've only had you've fought humans, but you're just sparring with them. And I know LeChuck has skeletons as his crew, sort of skeleton ghosts. But yeah, they're probably going to be phantoms and skeletons as the enemies.
Yeah, just dressed up differently then, right?
Yeah, like remember the Pirate's Life ones? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you might be right, but still, like, got my fingers crossed for at least one new enemy type. Maybe an angry chicken. Like when you go to chicken island, 1 in 10 chickens is actually attacking you or something like that.
Something like that, or a sea threat would make sense. But we'll see about that monster, won't we?
I mean, it could be a new AI threat in the seas that they're trying to summon with LeChuck, and that enemy will be a permanent addition to the main game. Oh, that would be so good. That would be perfect.
Just don't watch any gameplay trailers when they start dropping them, because they'll just spoil the whole tale. So yeah, and the deep dives.
Right.
Like the Kraken.
Other tools. You like the Kraken, yeah. What about other tools we can expect?
See, it seems to suggest that the zip lines might be coming to the game, but I just think they'll be in the tall tales. But maybe they'll come to the game later on. They'll get repurposed around islands.
Yeah, that's what I hope. Maybe a new cannon type that will shoot a rope, maybe?
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Make it rare. Right. More sandbox tools, please.
I love speculation. And please, if you're listening, let us know what you want added to the game.
And don't say PvE servers, because that's not what we're asking about.
All right. So let's talk about some controversy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Because our podcast isn't complete without talking about controversy. And this controversy is about the original creator of Monkey Island. His name is Ron Gilbert. And apparently, he had no idea the crossover was coming. Well, they told him, but they told him pretty late, apparently. And he said it happened behind his back. So how do you feel about that? The original creator not really being on board with this?
I think the media's ran with this like they always do. Because big company bad, and big companies are bad, by the way. But there's nothing sort of the Kotaku writers of this world love is to talk about a big gaming corporation and how they're massive knobheads and they're horrible. And they ran with the story, didn't they? Just based on essentially tweets. I think it was on Mastodon, wasn't it? His platform. And Ron came out and said yeah, don't blow this out of proportion. The media's run with it. They did tell me, but they didn't approach him to work on it. And as the creator of the IP, you would be pretty hard done by.
Yeah.
Especially because he was asked to return to Monkey Island, which,
And he did.
you'd expect. But obviously there's this element of Microsoft, or I guess Rare, but, the part of Microsoft and Disney speaking about this, and these multi-billion-dollar and trillion-dollar corporations don't need to contact the guy who created the IP to get his blessing because they own it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
There's a courtesy involved there. They obviously let him know, but they might not have told him because he'd be like, "Oh, I don't agree with this," and he might have, said something because he's not NDA'd, or it could be a case of them turning around and looking at the project and thinking, "Oh, we trust Rare, we trust Chapman with this. He doesn't really need to know because it's not a new game. It's just based off of the old stuff." It's been blown out of proportion. Ron's okay to feel upset by that, but at the end of the day, he did sell the IP, or it's not his IP anymore. I don't know the circumstances of how that changed hands to Disney. But yeah, he doesn't really have a say of what's going on anymore. It's like if I sold you, let's say I sold you my Sea of Thieves art book, and you read it and then wiped your ass with the pages. I shouldn't have sold it to you, should I? If I wanted to be upset about it.
Thanks for that, by the way. Like, I'm saving a lot on toilet paper.
Yeah, what? No, I wrote the note specifically telling you not to do that. Yeah, so what's your view on it? I guess it'd be pretty similar, right?
I'm pretty tame. Like, it's okay for him to be disappointed about it, but like he doesn't seem bitter about it, and it's just the way it goes.
And he seems like a nice bloke anyway, so I think it is a case of Kotaku doing the Kotaku things and just shitting out a story for clicks.
And it happened before. Like, one of the older Monkey Island installments was also done without him. Probably I think that there was a Telltale. Telltale also did a Monkey Island game.
Yeah, and there's a fourth game as well, the 3D one that's not.
Yeah.
He didn't.
He didn't
coincidentally, it's the worst one as well. So we'll see what Mike Chapman brings to the table. Bless him. It's big shoes to fill.
Yeah, but it is. See, another company made Killer Instinct. Another company made Battletoads, and those are Rare IPs, and they done a really good job without the direct input of Rare. But Rare was still the creative consultant, and I'm a little bit disappointed that Ron wasn't. So how do you feel about that? Should he be a creative consultant on that game?
No. Put it this way, right? If me, who's a big fan, let's talk about it in the case of, the context that we actually have. Mike is clearly a big Disney fan. He's clearly a good Pirates of the Caribbean fan. He's clearly a big Monkey Island fan, and a lot of the team are at Rare.
Yeah.
So you get this studio that's made the best pirate game that's ever been made, and that's like that's quite a hard thing to achieve, especially in the sort of medium, etc., etc. And they've already done a good job with the Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think anyone would dispute that. So when it comes to doing another pirate IP, especially when they're so passionate about it, do we really need to be worried that they're going to do something justice? It's like saying to me, who's a big Sea of Thieves fan, they go, "Ray, you need to write a tall tale for us, or a story or something." As someone who's so passionate about something like that, you would put your absolute heart and soul into it, and you'd look at the source material, and you'd do it right. You'd do it justice. Yeah. So when it comes to Monkey Island and Ron not being involved, I definitely trust the Rare team being so passionate as they are about this because they love the franchise. So yeah, Ron doesn't need to be involved, and especially with an outside force, with Rare, Disney, and Ron working together, there's going to be some creative liberties taken and some conflict, and it might make the project worse because too many cooks spoil the broth. It's different if Rare and Ron were making it, but when there's three parties involved, I think that's when it's an issue.
Yeah, that's a good assessment. Still, I think you should, maybe show. I don't know. It's kind of hard because they're still working on it. Because I always feel like at least show the finished project for a final, additional feedback from the original creator. But maybe that's really hard to do in the production process.
Yeah, especially when there's obviously a large amount of money changing hands, and
Mm-hmm.
what happens if Ron turns around and says, "Yeah, this is a load of shit." Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to listen to him? He's not a paid consultant, or are you just going to get on with it? He might just not like it, so
Mm-hmm.
I think it just muddies the waters a lot. When it's like
Yeah.
it's like if George Lucas came in and started telling Disney how to run their IP,
Yeah.
when another studio was handling it for them. Like, say
Yeah.
George was consulted on this new Star Wars game. That would really not make a lot of sense, would it?
I think he was a consultant uh, on the sequels, right? They just didn't listen to him.
Oh, really? Is that
I
just
think.
Kathleen Kennedy being arrogant then?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I remember watching a Star Wars property and I saw him as a consultant. I can't remember what it was exactly.
Because I remember when the sequels were finished, he came out and said, "Yeah, I wouldn't have done them like that."
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
This is hindsight's 2020, George. George, you told us how to do this. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it like that. Prove it.
Yeah. It's also he did got a lot of negative feedback for the latest game, Return to Monkey Island. Don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, about the art style. I remember seeing
Yeah,
that when
about
it
the
was
art style.
announced. People need to
Yeah,
grow up, don't they?
yeah, they do.
It's I get it. It's different, and it is different. But all three games have a sort of slightly different art style anyway.
Hmm.
Like the third one
Yeah.
looks completely different from the first two, and the second one's sort of more cartoony, and the third one goes further. And this one's just a bit more stylized. Um,
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about a 2D game, you can take a lot of creative liberties with how you draw the characters, as long as it's
Hmm.
about the actual characters themselves and it's authentic.
Hmm. Yeah, I say people. You say people need to chill out, and I kind of agree with Monkey Island franchise because I don't see the problem. But they also changed the art style for Banjo Kazooie when they did Nuts and Bolts, and I'm still angry about that. So maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite.
It's hard to do when it's 3D models.
Mm.
Whereas 2D is like a painting, right?
Mm.
You can have a bit more liberty with it, but like
Hmm.
3D, if you look at the Halo fan base, they hate how Halo 4 and 5 look. And that's why Halo Infinite looks the way it does. And some of it looks
Okay.
better, some of it looks horrendous.
Mm.
I don't think it's as impactful when it's, especially when I don't think the art style for the first few games is necessarily what made the game so good.
Mm.
It's like maybe Cuphead, yeah, if that wasn't animated the way it was, if they did a Cuphead too, and they did it like, say modern animation, you could argue a case there, but was Monkey Island really renowned for its pixel art and then, its drawn art? I don't think it was it?
Mm.
Correct me if
But
I'm wrong.
I think that's really hard to answer because like I said, I still need to finish those games, and I'm not a fan yet. So I think it's hard to answer for me.
Yeah. I'm just sort of looking at the reception of Monkey Island. It's like a solid 9 out of 10, the return game, sorry. So it didn't
Yeah,
really
it looks
seem like.
great. Like I'm more drawn to that new style. I can say that as a new potential new fan, I'm more drawn to the later style.
My favorite style is the third game. Um,
Mm.
Although I do like Secret Monkey Island Special Editions look, but yeah, I think Return still looks good though.
All right, fair enough. So final words on the Ron Gilbert situation.
They should have just told him it was happening earlier. He knowing like what the team's doing with the IP, he probably would have liked it anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just been blown out of proportion.
they did bring back the original voice actors.
As far as I can tell, I know Guybrush is voiced by, I can't remember his name now. See, that's how massive fan I am of Monkey Island. And then
Beginning fans, beginning fans.
yeah, see, Mike said he wanted to get people into the franchise, and
And it's working.
it's working. It's working. I'm pretty sure the Fettuccine brothers are voiced by the original actors. Stan sounds like he's the original actor. LeChuck sounds like he's the original actor as well. So as far as I can tell, everyone has their original voice actor.
All right, and that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
So are you ready to go to the messages in the bottle?
Yes, I thought it was never going to come because I wouldn't shut up, to be fair. So
It's great though. Again, great questions from our subscribers. Let's start with Jark. His question is: what is the best plus side and worst downside we're getting from these tall tales? And he has a follow-up question: how much will this kill adventures? So he's a bit concerned about these tall tales pushing the adventures aside. So how do you feel about that?
plus side is that obviously we're getting Tall Tales again, and
Mhm.
Monkey Island seems to fit it more than a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover. And yeah, it's just nice to sort of, I guess, visit some new locations. Tall Tales are always a plus in my book, but I do agree with Jack, and that's sort of folding it in to the follow-up question. I am concerned about, one, how adventures will be received after this, especially coming back from 3 big Tall Tales.
Mhm.
And also, contrast can be a pain. So when you see how good these Tall Tales are and you return to adventures that give 5 minutes of gameplay spread over an hour of sailing, people are going to be even more pissed off about it that we've just regressed. So I think that's the
Yeah,
biggest concern.
yeah, a little I wouldn't say pissed off, but a little disappointed. And I
Oh
think
no,
that's
the Sea of Thieves fan base is very angry at the moment.
all right. Well, I'm just not a fan then. I think it's a very no-brainer answer. The plus side, obviously, we're getting new tall tales. The downside is, yeah, the adventures we're gonna have to wait a little bit for them, and if they do return, they're gonna feel a bit less. So
Mm-hmm.
pretty obvious, yeah. So next question comes from Zoltar. Who from the main story do you think is most likely to appear in the tall tales, or do you think there'll be little to no crossover at all? Kind of addressed that a little bit earlier. It's confirmed there is going to be some crossover, but I don't think it's going to be as much as A Pirate's Life.
True. Who do we think's, not including the Curse Captain, who do we think's most likely to make an appearance?
I mean, people think Flameheart.
Well, it's
But
confirmed there's a link, but whether he will appear is a different story, isn't it?
man, I don't like that. Like, of course, Mike Chapman's gonna say that, so you remain hyped. And it's just some character mentioning Flameheart or something like that, and that's the link.
Oh, what, like, Duke, even Captain Flameheart can take over the Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, something like that. Or oh, LeChuck. Oh, he's almost just as bad as Flameheart, and there's your reference. There you go. That's the link.
There's your link. Thanks,
They're,
Mike.
they're both bad guys.
They're both bad guys, but for different reasons. I can't see Ramsey
Yeah.
turning up.
No, neither.
He's busy, isn't he? Doing nothing.
Maybe comedic figure. Something that I mean, Duke could because he's funny. Merrick is kind of funny.
Maybe this is where Duke cuts and runs from the Brethren. He didn't seem all that interested, did he? When they were searching for the cure for the skeleton curse.
Mm-hmm. And we know the Sea of the Damned is involved, so maybe we can meet up with Pendragon. But could be a stretch, but maybe.
Imagine if Pendragon gets banished and appears back in the story before Flameheart. So what you're saying, Rare, is that if we didn't say Flameheart, we would have met up with him in the Sea of the Damned. Is that it? I think the Dark Brethren is going to be the one that appears.
Yeah. But even more obvious to me is actually no one except the Curse Captain. I don't think they're going to be... like I said before, I don't think there's going to be that much crossover. And I think the connection we get is like similar powers. And those powers can come from the memories. Like they talked about that in the trailer as well. They mentioned memories. So I think that's a crossover we're going to get with the Sea of the Damned again. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Zoltar. Next one is from Frog Monster. Do you think LeChuck will ally himself to the Dark Brethren, or perhaps Flameheart like Davy Jones did? It's going to be too big, right? If we're going to have another Dark Brethren member. Technically, Davy Jones is still kind of like alive. He's just locked away. I don't think he's going to get out. I mean, that's just a way to finish it while not really killing him. And if you're going to do that with LeChuck, what are you going to do? Make him a permanent member of the Dark Brethren? Then every normal tall tale will also be a crossover with Monkey Island. I don't think they're gonna do that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think LeChuck so much fits the Dark Brethren. Although it does make sense that technically a crossover faction would continue being a crossover faction in the next crossover, so it's possible. But Flameheart wouldn't work for LeChuck, and if he did, that's completely out of character.
See, I don't really know that much about LeChuck, but what I can see or the feel I get from him is that he's very much in his element of being a big bad guy, and the Dark Brethren are more the bad guys that didn't fit in anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think LeChuck is one of those characters. Like, he's not a loser
Ha!
of the Losers Club. If you get that reference.
Well, maybe the amount of times he's been rejected by Elaine and defeated by Guybrush, he would be a loser.
Maybe. Again, I don't know enough about LeChuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more aligned with Flameheart in terms of villainy, but that's because Flameheart is based off LeChuck. So,
yeah.
So we'll see.
So yeah, we'll see, but we don't really think so, right?
No.
So the next question, thanks for that, Frog Monster. The next question comes from Toby Echoes Up. What sort of rewards do you think we will be getting with 3 Tall Tales? That's a likelihood of 7 items, and that's 2 for each and 1 as the final reward. I think that's a fair assessment. Trickster adds to that. Do you think Stan's outfit and Guybrush's hard boxers? That's a great addition by Trickster, by the way, because Stan's outfit, that's the salesman, and his outfit is really special, right? Because he's wearing this checkered coat, and it moves a bit weird, right?
Yeah, it's a nod to the game where they couldn't get the pattern to work properly, so it just sort of moves around really strange, as if like it's see-through and there's a background with checkers behind. That's how it works. Yeah, and they managed to replicate that in 3D. So none of the
which is actually harder to do. It puts more effort to do that in a modern game than it used to be in the first Monkey Island.
Yeah, good thing they went for the details. So
yeah, like a lot of people thought it was a mistake, but it's actually a great detail.
Yeah. So in terms of then cosmetics, so the 6 you'll get for earning, just for doing the Tall Tales won't be Monkey Island or licensed, because if the license expires, they get removed from the game. So it'll be sort of based on the Tall Tales. So maybe the hat that one of the Pirates of the Scum Bar wears, maybe the Cursed Captain's jacket. This is the sort of thing we're going to see.
But wait. So back up a bit. If the license expired, those cosmetics will be gone?
Yeah, so if you haven't read it, with the terms of sale when you buy the Disney stuff or the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff as it is now, they stipulate that the license will last until, I think it's the 2031, so that's 10 years after a pirate's life. But Disney can choose to end the license at any time. And if that happens, the cosmetics get removed from the game and you'll get a like-for-like replacement of the same value of Emporium stuff.
Okay.
But you won't be refunded.
Yeah, so you get a different outfit then.
Yeah, so I wonder how they'd handle that if you had all the cosmetics in the Emporium.
And what would happen with the Tall Tales then?
They're gone.
I mean, obviously
removed.
They're also gone then.
Yeah.
But that's only like in the worst of worst case scenarios, right? The likelihood of that happening is very low, right?
Yeah, but Disney could say, "Oh, we don't want to use our IP anymore for whatever reason," or they want to make their own pirate game. They want to make their own Pirates of the Caribbean game. They want to do another Monkey Island, and they see that as competition. They'll just end the licenses, and Microsoft hasn't got a leg to stand on because it's in the contract.
Man, that's so corporal. That's so So
other games have had this issue. So like Friday the 13th is licensed, but they're taking the game off of the servers offline in about a year's time, and ending the ability to buy the game because they didn't want to pay to renew the license. And Dead by Daylight's got a lot of these issues as well because they pay for crossovers, and they don't renew the licenses when they're not making any money from it, so they just remove them from the store.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't want to think about that.
I don't think Activision have done it yet, for Call of Duty because they've got so much money and they just keep renewing them. But give it a few years and those will be removed from the stores as well.
No. All right, but let's get back to the cosmetics we might get. So you agree with Toby, like 7 for 3 tall tales in total?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Monkey Island cosmetics, right?
No, it'll be based off the stuff we see in there, or Sea of Thieves characters.
Yeah, maybe that's the crossover we get, so we can get cosmetics that mean something. And like more parts of the Cursed Captain ship would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
not gonna. They're not gonna do it because they completing cosmetic sets. What the fuck is that?
Releasing earnable cosmetics in the cosmetic-based progression game that aren't recolors.
We don't do that anymore.
No, the Emporium is the only important thing in this game. It's 5 month seasons, no problem. We'll never delay an Emporium update.
So all the real Monkey Island cosmetics will be in the Emporium then, right?
Yeah, of course. Unless they do,
of course. Yeah.
Unless they do a shanty again, which would be a good reward. Like maybe they do the Monkey Island theme or like the Scum Bar theme as a shanty for completing all of them. Again, that could just be removed. But I guess with licensing music, maybe technically they could do the shanty because it's a cover. It's not the original piece of music, is it? So they couldn't take it from the game.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, really unless that cool. Specific piece of music was produced with the license in mind.
Yeah,
but maybe it's not. So yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think will be in the Emporium, cosmetics wise?
So Guybrush costume, Elaine or Kate costume, Stan costume, the Mad Monkey ship set, some obviously Monkey Island themed emotes, maybe stuff with props to like the chicken with the pulley in the middle. Maybe some Stan-based emotes. I don't think any weapons. Unless they made Mad Monkey weapons. Obviously, LeChuck ship set.
Yeah.
So if we've got 3, Rare will do 3 Emporium updates, won't they?
Yes.
There's no way they're not going to do it. So let's say 3 costumes. They do more than 3 costumes. Let's say the costumes will be Stan, Guybrush, Elaine, LeChuck. Ships will be Sea Monkey, Mad Monkey, LeChuck's ghost ship. So they'll do his own sort of interpretation. Emotes based on the characters.
The spitting contest emote will get back.
Will come back, yeah. But it'll be licensed. Yeah. What else do they do the Emporium? They do all sorts these days, don't they?
Well, I like the boxer idea from Trickster. I think that's great. I would love heart-shaped boxers.
I think it's a good idea.
Or boxes with hearts on it. Yeah.
Would anyone pay for boxer colours? Underwear colours in the Emporium?
I prefer to get it as a reward for completing the tall tale, obviously. But I would pay €1 for that. Yeah.
I don't think people would like that as a whole tall tale reward, to be fair, especially because you can't see it unless you wear no pants.
Yeah, why not? That can be fun, not wearing pants. Yeah.
True. Like real life, then.
Yeah, yeah.
What else would they do? Emotes, probably weapons they'd make up, wouldn't they? So, yeah.
Are there iconic weapons in the Monkey Island series?
Not that I know of.
So there's not a Excalibur-like cutlass that you can get in the game?
Not that I've found. Yeah, it could be. Obviously, I haven't finished the game.
Hairstyles?
Would be with costumes, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you're probably right. And paintings, right?
Oh yeah, paintings, of course. Yeah,
that'll be in paintings.
That'll be in a year's time, though. Don't you worry. We'll spread it out.
And obviously trinkets, which could be maybe that Monkey Island entrance. That could be a nice trinket, maybe.
Chicken with a pulley in the middle. Yep.
Yeah, something like that too. Yeah.
The glowing grog. Yeah, there's a lot.
So yeah. Well, that kind of rewards we think we will get, and all the best ones will be in the Emporium, like usual.
True, like usual, but I think with crossovers, it makes sense because they're crossovers and they have to pay for them, and 2 because of the licensing thing.
Alright, and we got our Packless Cross for a shanty, right?
Yeah, but don't expect the gold stores to refresh for the next 3 months, guys, because there's earnable stuff in Tall Tales.
No, I've given up on that.
Yeah, that's just the whole no cosmetic situation is beyond fixing at this point, and sorry to be negative, but Rare's never going to fix that. The Emporium makes too much money.
Yeah, I think they set a new course for that. We're gonna get some stuff, but not like we used to, I feel.
They say little and often, little and not often will be the phrase.
All right, so thanks for that, Toby. Very nice question. Next question comes from Toromsu. Do you think that they need to make Tall Tales more accessible than A Pie's Life was? The menu option is great as a concept, but doesn't work well since the pop-up message telling you to vote on a Castaway book only lasts for about 5 seconds. The amount of players I meet that miss this pop-up message and just sail away, thinking they are doing the story, is insane to me. If these Tall Tales get a menu button, or worse, if they don't, what do you think can be done to ensure players actually play them instead of sailing away cluelessly? I think this is a great question. I think it's a real problem with the Pie's Life Tall Tale. It's also really hard to check the data because a lot of players just select A Pie's Life Tall Tale to, not walk from the tavern anymore because it's just faster if you vote for that in the beginning. So it's a real problem, right? We agree with that?
Yeah, because people don't read.
Yeah, they don't read. And I can imagine if, yeah.
It is misleading as well. Because loads of people say they think they're in a PvE server when they do it.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to do Jack Sparrow shit.
Yeah. It's so what's the solution?
When you click it, oh no, I'm not going to suggest this because it's going to make it longer for me to load in. But when you click it the first time and you go to set sail, it says, please note you're still in a shared instance. You'll just wake up next to the starting point for the Tall Tales. And then when you come in, you get the pop-up saying, speak to the mysterious stranger or vote on a Tall Tale at the Castaways camp and have it pop up for longer and just have that toggled off in the settings if you want to.
I was thinking of just showing a cinematic to show how it's done.
What, the first time you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if people skip that, that's on them then, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you select Paris Life, and the game can check, right, if you started it or if you didn't start it. So even if you do it wrong like 2 or 3 times, you still get that cinematic until you've done it right.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's my solution to this problem. I think another solution would be just to start the Tall Tale in a different area, which obviously you can't do with Pie's Life, but maybe they can do that for Monkey Island.
Possibly.
Question mark?
I mean, I think they're putting them at the Castaway camp anyway, so.
Is that confirmed? I heard something about that.
I think it is confirmed. I'm sure I read it on Twitter.
So we will get that voodoo lady next to the Castaway?
I think she's just in the first Tall Tale.
Okay, so is there an NPC we interact with then?
Probably the Castaway.
So the Castaway from Pie's Life is going to introduce us to the Monkey Island?
Probably, yeah. It's just a Castaway, isn't it? She's not officially Tia Dalma. Spoilers.
I mean, it's super obvious. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we're gonna hear her lovely voice again as well.
Yeah, probably. Interesting, actually. Before we circle back to this, if we're speaking about the Castaway, in the trailer you see the Black Pearl in Stan's Emporium, and you also see a sloop with the Royal Revenge ship set on it. So some speculated that this means the Pirate's Life is still going ahead. Do you think we'll get a little cameo from any Pirates of the Caribbean characters?
Maybe. Yeah, if it would make sense. Yeah. Otherwise, it's waiting another 2 years until we get something of a Pirate's Life. Going from the fact that it was already 2 years between these two. So it would make sense to show a little. Yeah. The question is, what would it be, right?
Yeah, I think a cameo would be best rather than a fully fledged appearance.
Maybe a note left by Jack or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe an item he left behind. Oh, Jack was also on Monkey Island.
Yeah, something like that, rather than, hello, chums, it's Jack Sparrow here. Savvy.
Yeah, it's also much cheaper to just leave a note instead of hiring the voice actor again. So
Exactly.
yeah, maybe we'll get something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
some hints to what's going on, or what we can expect for the next Pilot Life, because we both think we're gonna get a next Pilot Life, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, I think the same, and most likely in another 2 years.
Yeah, it's
Um,
going to be another big plot point, and they're going to pause it again for Pirate's Life, because that would be part of the course, wouldn't it?
Hi. So to come back to the question of Thromsu, we gave some solutions. I hope Rare does something about it, because you're right. We have a bunch of clueless pirates, and it would be nice if we could lessen that.
Exactly.
So the final question comes from Steel Skull. He says, according to the devs, we will be getting a lot of side quests to do, like in the original Monkey Island. In that game, that usually meant talking to a lot of different NPCs. Do you think that could be one of the things Rare feeds back into the main game, like a lot of the things done in a Pirate's Life? I have heard the biggest complaint about Port Merrick is that it doesn't really feel lived in, and some NPCs scattered about could help that, especially if there was some sort of quest aspect to their existence.
No is the answer.
I don't think we're gonna get it. I do feel it's a really valid point.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. Yeah.
it would be nice to have some quests like the mystery in the basement of the inn. Oh, I hear spooky sounds coming from the basement. Can you have a look and solve it? I think it's rats, but it could be something else. And then you have a little adventure there.
Yeah, it would be really cool. It
Mhm.
seems like New Golden Sands it's just a cosmetic thing, and I think it will remain that way. Um,
Mhm.
any more NPCs and what have you is just going to put load on the server, and it already chugs even on high end hardware.
Mhm.
God forbid you go there with an Xbox One. Oof. Um, and I think that's what's a disappointment about New Golden Sands is that it doesn't have any gameplay function. It
Mhm.
just looks nice, and that's okay. Um, but
Certainly, and we can make our own stories there, right?
yeah, we can sit around and pretend.
Which some a lot of people find a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, and it's a good backdrop if you're making videos.
Mhm.
It's just that people clearly wanted a gameplay aspect for it, and that wasn't considered. I mean, at
Mhm.
least if the Reapers won, you'd have a turning point. But I would argue that's a negative gameplay loop,
Yeah.
negative gameplay aspect,
Mhm.
because that defeats the object of the Reapers, and it'll just make running so easy.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was it's no gameplay versus gameplay, but negative gameplay. So really, we got the better end of the stick, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I didn't like the idea of what they were going to turn the garrison into. It just sounded very similar to what we have now, just with a green filter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Should have been more
Um,
sort of Reaper hideouty.
I mean, more side quests on the seas would be nice, but we don't think they're doing it right.
They're not doing anything to New Golden Sands for a while, as far as I'm concerned, and it just doesn't
Yeah.
feel that way. I think it's just done now.
And side quests in general, like just maybe a weapon seller on any outpost could just have, oh, I have this quest, which is aside from adventures. Like, I need some help with this. Do you think that will ever happen?
No,
Like, maybe you get a map from an NPC that's not typically known for giving out maps.
no, it hasn't happened in 5 years, and it won't happen for the next 5. It just doesn't. I think it would have been done by now.
Yeah, that's not the way they think about their game. He did mention that he said according to the devs we'll be getting a lot of side quests, like the original Monkey Island. So is that confirmed anywhere?
I think Mike, the source of information is his project, mentioned this. I'd have to find the exact tweet, but
Ah,
it seems like it's going to be in the vein of, you know, the Dougie side quest in A Pirate's Life when you get to Sailor's Grave.
yeah, yeah, of course.
That one, and then obviously getting access to the Monkey Island, Easter egg. I think those are the side quests we're talking about.
Yep, I think the same. And there will probably be some accommodations attached to that, and then we know
and
how
journals.
many there are to do. And journals.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually excited to read some journals again. It's been 6 months?
Been a while.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was the final question. So thanks for that, Steel Skull, and thanks to everyone that posted their questions. If you want to post questions, make sure to join the Salty Hippo Discord. I always post an announcement when we are close to recording a new episode. And if you want your questions answered next time, hey, you can do that. I also want to remind our listeners that this podcast is also on Spotify and Amazon Music. So if that's more convenient for you, you can listen to us there. Keep in mind that new episodes premiere on YouTube first and will be on Spotify and Amazon a little bit later. And you can also follow us on Twitter at BestCOT Podcast. Link to that will also be in the description. So, we have come to the end of this special monkey-filled podcast episode. And I want to thank AShinyRay for being amazing. And can you tell us, can you tell listeners where they can find your content?
Yeah, so you can just find me on YouTube, just search AShinyRay in the search bar, and I am available on Twitter at AShinyRayQuasar. Give me a follow, tweet me, whatever, give me abuse. And yeah, that's basically where you can find me on my platforms.
All right, make sure you do give him abuse. You can find me also on YouTube at Captain Blubber, and I am also Captain Blubber on Goodreads. So before you go, make sure you give this podcast a thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And please leave a comment and share your thoughts. We do read all of the comments. So if you did listen to the end of this podcast, just know that you are a better person compared to everyone else. So thanks again and take care.
Take care, guys.